A priest friend of mine once composed a poem and handed it in to his English professor. Uh, then he read it. It was kind of a love sonnet and all kinds of images and colorful words. Father Waters, the professor, listened respectfully and then spoke devastatingly to this budding poet heart. The problem is, he said, you obviously have never been in love, so you cover that up with fancy words. Go back and ponder what love is, and then come back and speak it from your heart. Was reminded of that when I was reading today's gospel. It's from the divine poet, assisting the hearers to keep pondering the poem of life, of love, of accompaniment. This poem is from love itself. Here is the poetic problem. The more interior something is, like love, the less it can be expressed simply or clearly. It's beyond words or ideas. It is to be loved and received outwardly. Jesus is telling his disciples, poetry learners, the meaning for them of his personal poem, his life and theirs. In short, he comforts them by assuring them that he will not leave it to them to interpret the whole thing by themselves. The author will send a spirit. The author loves the whole poem and will labor constantly to have it received, but never totally. The promised spirit will guide and protect the poem from being misused or modified. There will be those who think that they know the whole meaning of life's poem, and their interpretation will move them to try to destroy any other way of living the poem. They will kick some out, they might even kill some. But the spirit which the poet will send will continue writing and living. There will always be images, verbs, non-rhymings, mysterious phrases, and the Spirit faithfully encourages the listeners or the readers to allow the interior of the poet to be received, even when not totally understood. God continues writing our personal poems and sends the Spirit of creation to live its verses rather than to try to absolutely exhaust its meaning. The more intimate an experience is, the less it can be exactly or accurately conveyed. The more someone wants the explanation for God or Jesus or our own life poem, the less they're really interested in reading as intimacy, but rather as something to react to, rather than respond in their own reading of their own poem. The Spirit still is urging God's divine poem, Jesus, to be received as mysterious and lived as a gracious revelation. Early in the first chapters of John's Gospel, he writes that everything was created in him, meaning Christ, and without him nothing was created. So Christ is the fullness of the divine poem, and each of us is a blessed word or an image or a verse within that poem. This poem can seldom make sense, and it rarely rhymes, but it's our poem. We're part of that. Praise God.